Hi there, and welcome back to lesson 2. From lesson 1 then, you should have a plan that consists of 3 things. The first thing is you're going to know when and where that you're going to sit down and enjoy your Easter eggs together. Number 2, you're going to know how many Easter eggs you're going to have from your immediate friends and family. And number 3, you're going to have a strategy to cope with when extended friends and family want to give your children Easter eggs as a gift. So we're going to move on to lesson 2, and now that's going to consist of what approach we're going to use when we're going to have a meal that consists of, in part or mostly, of chocolate Easter eggs. So I hope you find this lesson useful, and we're going to dive right in. Okay, so in this lesson we're going to talk about 3 things. We're going to talk about the division of responsibility, where the parent or the caregiver has their set of responsibilities and the child has their set of responsibilities, and we don't cross those boundaries. The next thing we're going to talk about then is how to sit down together and enjoy a meal together. And the last thing then is how we deal with leftovers. So in this case, with our chocolate egg leftovers, what is the process to go through there? So firstly then, we're going to talk about the division of responsibility. So you, as the parent or caregiver, are responsible for what is to be eaten at that meal or snack, when it's going to be served, and where it's going to be served. So in this instance, the what, we're talking about our chocolate Easter eggs. And there's nothing wrong with putting the chocolate Easter eggs on the table along with a bowl of fruit. So that's the choice that's available, and that's your responsibility as a parent. So you're going to decide where then. So for example, you could say we're going to eat our chocolate Easter eggs at the kitchen table. And the when then is, for example, it could be midday on Easter Sunday. But you can make up what works best for you then. But that is your responsibility as the parent. The child's responsibility then is to decide out of what's available for them to eat, whether to eat that or not. Completely up to them. It's their responsibility to choose. And it's also their responsibility to decide how much they want to eat of that. And it's really important that to allow this mealtime to be as stress-free and as happy as possible, we don't cross those boundaries. So for instance, it is not our responsibility as a parent to tell that child how much that they need to eat. They need to learn to realize that for themselves. So, for example, you might be scared that your child is going to overeat. Now, if you tell your child, don't eat too much chocolate or you're going to feel sick, or you allow that child to eat as much as they want, if they overeat and feel sick, where is the better learning opportunity coming from? It's not from you telling them, it's from them experiencing it for themselves. So the division of responsibility is really a really important foundation to set and to understand and to apply when we're talking about feeding our children. So we've got to the time and place that we've agreed on is when we're going to sit down and we're going to enjoy our Easter eggs together. This is my advice to make this time be as stress-free and as easy as possible for both the child and the adult. And this is my step-by-step approach. Okay, so this is what I advise then to sit down and eat your Easter eggs. So the key thing here is to sit down all together in one place. That could be at your kitchen dining room table, it could be a picnic style on your living room floor, whatever works for you. Okay, so that's the first thing, sit down all together. The next thing then is to put all the available food down on the middle of the table or in the middle of the floor or wherever it might be. So everyone has access and can choose what they want out of what's available. This is important, so no distractions such as a TV or mobile phones. Try as far as possible to get mobile phones off the kitchen table. This is a normal meal. Expect normal table manners from everyone. It's not up to anyone to comment how much anyone else eats. Leave comments at the door. And we've discussed this before, each person decides how much they want to eat, and it's not up to anyone else to comment on what someone else is eating. Refrain from using language like this food is fattening, this food is a bad food, it's a treat food. Completely leave it as a normalized food as possible. It's just another piece of food. Like I mentioned before, if your child overeats, this is a learning experience. And learning experiences are part of life. So let your child eat what they want out of what's available at the time. And if they overeat, then they can learn what that feels like and hopefully modify that for the future. Okay, so we've all finished our meal. Everyone's eaten enough. What do we do with our leftovers then? So just a note to remember with regards to overeating. If your child expects never to have this type of food ever again, they're more likely to overeat on that occasion. So if you say, when we're done with our leftovers, we're going to put it away, we might have some more tomorrow, or we might have some more the next day. Your child is far more likely to regulate what they eat on that one occasion, rather than eating more than is comfortable because they won't be able to have that food again in the future. So that's the first thing to remember. It's up to the parent to decide when that food comes out again. Now, so you might decide we might have a little bit more tomorrow or the next day. What if your child says to you later on that day, they say, oh, I want some more of the chocolate? As the parent, you're perfectly within your right to say no. And your child must learn to respect that. Like we said with the division of responsibility, it's the parent's responsibility to decide the what and the when. If you say, we've already had chocolate today, it's just simply not on the menu right now. Your child probably won't like it, but they must learn to accept that. That is your responsibility as a parent to put these boundaries in place. So that concludes lesson 2. So I hope you find this useful and it gives you a plan of action and an approach to use when there is a time of year that there is an unusually large amount of chocolate or sweet food. Now, I've used this as an example, but you could also use this for birthdays when there is a lot of birthday cake, when there's other sweet treats and snack food. You can use the same approach for any of those times a year also. So I hope you find this useful, and we'll now move on to lesson 3. And in this lesson, we're going to look at the evidence that supports whether chocolate and sugar causes our child to behave badly, to be hyperactive. And we'll also look at the effect of sugar on teeth as well. So I look forward to seeing you then.